Hey everybody, it's Dr. Kadisha, your board certified emergency medicine physician and best-selling author of the book Help Us Help You in the Emergency Room, as well as creator of the mobile MD kit and the mini MD kit, here to talk with you about it being cold and flu and coronavirus season and whether or not we can use NSAIDs. Can we use NSAIDs? I know that there was a lot of controversy about the use of NSAIDs, things like ibuprofen, aspirin, naproxen, things like that. And luckily, we got a verdict that rules in our favor. So I'll just give you a couple minutes. I think whoever the first person is for joining me, please make yourself known in the comments and let's share. I'm just going to take a minute to send out some notifications. I wasn't sure if I was going to be good and not play music this time, but I want to play music, but I'm going to try to be good about that and avoid the music today. Actually, let's see, I just got off a shift this morning, a 24-hour shift, and I also have some lessons from the last shift for you. So, yes, definitely please say hi in the comments, make yourself known, ask any questions, express any concerns, because I am post shift. I'm a little bit, just flying a little bit below usual today because it was rough. It was rough. Let's see, what did I see today? Actually, shift work life today was like yesterday or the last 24 plus hours. So yesterday it was a number of injuries and let's see, lots of belly pain, dehydration, anxiety, I had to throw a few stitches in last night also. But what I'm anticipating, especially after Labor Day, is fever. And I wanted to get in front of that before things really kicked into high gear as far as fever. A number of times, parents bring kids in for fevers that they can't control, and all it is just a matter of proper dosing. So at the end of this, I wanted to discuss that as well. But first, wanted to talk about the back and forth with NSAIDs and them being used for COVID, because again, COVID is a virus, is a virus. The flu is a virus, and the other things that cause the common cold, the adenoviruses, the rhinoviruses, other members of the coronavirus family, they respond well, the symptoms respond well to NSAIDs. So can we really use them? And actually, we can. The World Health Organization and the FDA say that they know of no evidence of serious adverse effects from the use of NSAIDs during COVID-19. But the problem was that there was a letter published in March of this year in the Lancet where some doctors had reported that the use of NSAIDs led to a more severe course of COVID-19. And then another internist and a nephrologist actually backed that article. But it was actually later proven to be not as, like statistically sound. The population that they looked at wasn't really a COVID-19 population. And so that led to the World Health Organization and the FDA putting in writing that they don't see harm in using NSAIDs with COVID-19. So So that was a relief. And yeah, because I definitely had patients who were anxious about that, being able to use that, their good old ibuprofen, aspirin, naproxen, and those things. And we rely on them heavily. So we can use NSAIDs for that. We're going to be using NSAIDs plenty unless you're allergic or you have a severe kidney issue that prohibits you from using it. We can use those for COVID related symptoms. Now, of course, I'm not your physician, so, definitely speak with your physician if you have some special conditions or anything like that that prohibit you from using it or prohibit you from using it safely, or if your doctor knows some things about any conditions that you have that prohibit you specifically. But in general, you can find it online. Those two organizations, the World Health and the FDA, say that they see no serious adverse outcomes from using NSAIDs. And let's see. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, I wanted to talk about dosing for fever, so you can get your kids' fever under control. Okay, so I'll let you know of a rule of thumb that we use in the ER, and I learned it as a resident. One is looking at Motrin, the brand names Motrin and Tylenol in alphabetical order. First there's the M, then there's the T. Okay, so for Motrin, we use 5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight for dosing, and we typically don't use Motrin for children under 6 months old. So it's 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram for Motrin, and then with Tylenol, it's 10 to 15 milligrams per kilogram. So that's okay. All right, so Motrin, 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram, and Tylenol is 10 to 15 milligrams per kilogram. And I know that the labels might look a little different because they put things in pounds on the labels. They might tend to put things in pounds, and you might see, let's see here. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, so and we're right at Motrin.com, good old Motrin.com, and it lists some rules of thumb, just some general reminders for the use of Motrin. And yes, of course, read and follow the label carefully, because as you see, the infant suspension drops have a different concentration than the children's suspension. The children's has twice the amount of the infant drops. So that's one thing to know. And you look at their chart to find the right dose. And the best thing to do is use your child's weight. And if you can't use weight, then it says to use age. But I definitely like to use weight because some children are larger or smaller and they're the same age. And then also, one good thing they mentioned is using the dosing device that came with that medication. And I know that, it's easy to lose syringes and teaspoons and stuff like that. And then you want to try to use something else. But definitely try to use the dosing device provided. And you can give the dose just like with adults. You can take the max dose every most safely every 8 hours. They say every 6 to 8 hours. And yeah, note that 1 teaspoon, they don't have that listed here, but 5 mLs is a teaspoon. So an ml is a milliliter, 5 milliliters go into a teaspoon. So for the infants here, okay, so you see under 6 months, they say ask a doctor. You ask this doctor or any doctors I know, and we don't use ibuprofen for children under 6 months old. Okay, and so we'll start at children 6 to 11 months. You see 12 to 17 pounds, and let's see here. So, and there is a conversion. So, okay, so let's see, how does it go? Okay, so 12 to 17 pounds. Let's see. And we will, let's see here. We'll do the calculation, the conversion. I'll put the conversion of pounds to kilograms in the chart, in the chat here. Okay, so pounds to kilograms. Sometimes let's see. Okay, so 2.2 pounds is 1 kilogram. So I'll put that in. We'll make a little banner or a comment here, actually. I'll make it a comment. Okay, so 2.2 pounds equals 1 kilogram. Okay, so we've got that. And so that's how we convert pounds to kilograms. So if you have a child who's like, say, 15 pounds, okay, so 15 pounds, okay, so, all right, so 2.2 is to 1. Okay, so like 70 kilograms is about like 100, about 150 pounds. So if you look at it that way, the pounds are always heavier. So you take 15 divided by 2.2, and there's 6.8 kilograms. So say a 15-pound child equals 6.8 kilograms, right? And I'm putting that in the chat. All right, so we got 6.8 kilograms. So Motrin for a 6.8 kilogram child or a 15-pound child is it's 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram, right? So we'll say we'll use the most. Okay, we'll just multiply it by 10. So for a 15-pound child, that would be 150 milligrams. Okay, so that's how we come up with the dose of Motrin. And we really want parents and for ourselves also, just to know how to properly dose Motrin so that you can get on top of your fever and not feel driven to come to the ER simply because you can't get on top of a child's fever. If your child is fine, you personally don't feel that they need to go to the ER, but it's just why you can't get their fever down, then this is how you approach it. So, if you know how many pounds your child weighs, you put them on the scale. You just, take the number of pounds and convert it into kilograms. So you take the number of pounds divided by 2.2 and you get the kilograms. Like for a 15-pound child divided by 2.2, and you get 6.8 kilograms. Okay. And I'm sorry. And then for the Motrin, actually, I'm sorry. So for 6.8 kilograms, the Motrin would be like 60, well, rounded down. So ideally, it would be 68 kilograms. And I'm sorry, yeah, I use pounds. And that's a common mistake that folks make. And I'm post shift. So yeah, let me correct that. So you're looking at kilograms, you're making the exact dose based on the kilograms. So Motrin for a 6.8 kilogram person at the most would be 68 milligrams. Okay, so, and we don't rack our brains over trying to get exactly 68 milligrams. So what we typically do is like we'll just round it down. So say, all right, so we'll go back to the table. Okay, the Motrin dosage table. Okay, and you see that for infants Motrin, it's 50 milligrams per 1.25 mLs, and that's basically a quarter teaspoon. Okay, so all right, so as we said, we had our 15-pound child. They're 6.8 kilograms, and you can just round it down if you want. So, okay, so 6.8 kilograms, say we'll give them about 10. So we'll give them 68 milligrams of this Motrin. So what we do is we take the 68 and multiply it. So 50 milligrams is to 1.25 mLs, as 68 milligrams is to what? So we just convert that into the number of mLs. So we take the 68, multiply it by 1.25, that's 85, and we divide it by 50, and we get 1.7 mLs. Okay, so let me stop sharing the screen. So that's how we convert the milligrams to mLs. And hopefully you can just, in the future, you can just go to Motrin.com. You can see the different concentrations of Motrin for the infants versus the children. And yeah, the children is easier. So, but yeah, for infants, you definitely have to like actually stop and think about it. So, and let me see, also I'll put this in the chat. That's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this post shift. So, okay, so the infant drops are 50 milligrams per 1.25 mLs. So, and we're just, again, a 15-pound child is 6.8 kilograms. We're giving them 68 milligrams of Motrin. So taking that 50 milligrams per 1.25 mLs, you multiply the 68 times that 1.25 mLs, and then you divide it by 50, and you get 1.7 mLs. It's just a little bit more. So that's how we calculate the Motrin. Okay, and then as you see, like the children's suspension is a bit easier. It's 100 milligrams per teaspoon, a lot easier. And maybe that's why we have fewer children in for fever that cannot be controlled, simply because of the calculations. But again, Motrin is 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram. And I'll put that in the chat here, because I know this seems dry, but this matter drives a lot of parents to the ER in the middle of the night. So I'm going to type this in. Okay, and then Tylenol is 10 to 15 milligrams per kilogram. You guys wouldn't believe it, but this really brings a lot of people to the ER in the middle of the night. And so Tylenol is 10 to 15 milligrams per kilogram. You know, they're glad. So a lot of people are glad to be educated about it, but they're like, I really came to the ER just to go over calculations of dosing for Motrin and Tylenol for my kid. And it's like, yep. And you guys know that one of Dr. Kadisha's passions in life is to keep people from making unnecessary visits to the ER if you don't have to. Why waste the time and the money and the effort, especially in the middle of the night, to go to the ER for something that you can easily handle at home? So, guys, I'll just end it there. So, the points of today's talk were that, one, the FDA and the World Health Organization, the latest that they said, and it's been for the past few months, is that they see no serious adverse outcomes with the use of NSAIDs for COVID-19, which is great news given that we are going into cold and flu season, and we will be making heavy use as a community of NSAIDs like ibuprofen, naproxen, and for those who still like to use aspirin. So that is a blessing. You can use your NSAIDs that you use for the flu and for other viral infections. You can use the NSAIDs for COVID-19. So on the topic of NSAIDs, we went over the dosing of the main one, which is Motrin, for an infant, because I have a lot of parents who bring their small children in for fever that they can't control. And, often they might have gone to the pediatrician already. The child has been evaluated and they were told that they have a viral illness. There's not much to do, just, symptomatic care, but they can't get the fever under control. And again, I went over how we dose the kids for Motrin and Tylenol in the ER. It's based on our references. It's based on pharmacopoeias, which are reference books for medications. And we always go based on weight, and we go based on kilograms. So again, 2.2 pounds is 1 kilogram. And we use the example of a 15-pound child. So if 2.2 pounds is 1 kilogram, a 15-pound child is 6.8 kilograms. All it is 15 divided by 2.2. 6.8 kilograms. Motrin, the dosing for Motrin is 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram. Okay, so if we have a child who is 6.8 kilograms, and Motrin is 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram, then we have to give about, say, 68 milligrams of Motrin, but you don't have to round it exactly to 68. To be safe, you can round it down. Just round it down and dose it for 65 milligrams. And we went over the Motrin dosing chart. So Motrin infant drops are, I'll put this in the chart, they're 50 milligrams per 1.25 milliliters. I'll make it a capital L. Okay, so the infant drops, which is that seems to be the hardest one to dose. So the Motrin infant drops are 50 milligrams per 1.25 mLs. And so if you have a 68, okay, so say we just use the 68 or 65. So for 65 milligrams of Motrin, like I'm really still in ER doctor mode here. I'm like doing calculations during a Facebook Live. Okay, so 65 milligrams of Motrin, 50 milligrams per 1.25 mLs equals the product of 65 times 1.25, which is 81.3. You divide it by that 50, and it's 1.6 ml. Okay, so for a 6.5 kilogram child, we're going to use 65 milligrams of Motrin and infant's Motrin. The concentration is 50 milligrams per 1.25 mLs. And all I did was multiply the 65 times 1.25 and divide it by 50, and I got 1.6 mLs. Okay, so a 6.5 kilogram child, or infant rather, gets 1.6 ml of the Motrin infant suspension drops. Okay. All right. And hopefully if you look at this or share it, just go over the calculations with me. I will share my screen once more and show you the Motrin dosing chart itself from Motrin.com. And there go the infant oral suspension drops at 50 milligrams per 1.25 mLs, and that is a quarter teaspoon. And again, follow the label carefully. You see that the concentration of the infant drops is different than the children's drops. Okay, and try to go based on weight. If you need your child's weight, I'm sure you can walk into any urgent care or ER, or maybe like the drugstore, like the Ready Clinic, or the little clinics in CVS or Walgreens. I'm sure they won't mind you asking to weigh your child there for the sake of proper medication dosing. Okay, so and 5 mLs, 5 milliliters equals a teaspoon. The infant oral suspension drops, I do believe that it comes with a dropper so that you can measure out this 1.25 mLs. And you see that it goes based on pounds. And I know that's not easy because you're at home going based on pounds. And yeah, they're expecting you to use pounds more at home. more than kilograms, here in the US anyway. We still use this system. So, they try to make it easy for you, but you got to know your child's proper weight. And children grow quickly, so they can quickly outgrow the dose that you were using before. Now that's another thing. So, and I'll put that in the chat as well. You got to keep track of your child's weight, because children quickly outgrow. You've been using, outgrow the dose you've been using. So yeah, keep track of your child's weight, because that could be the key to the mystery. That could actually solve the mystery as to why you cannot get your child's fever under control. And other things that you can do to help control a fever are like, the lukewarm baths, just having them sit in a lukewarm bath or a slightly cool bath. You can put cool, moist compresses behind their necks, under their arms, and in the groin area. So that's another good way to bring a child's temperature down, without, adding additional medication. You can do that as well. And know that you can alternate Motrin and Tylenol. Okay, so know that you can also alternate Motrin and Tylenol. Motrin, you give the max dose like every 8 hours. Tylenol, you can give the max dose like every 4 to 6 hours. And sometimes those times will overlap. And it's okay if it really has been 4 to 6 hours since your last dose of Tylenol, and if it's really been 6 to 8 hours since your last dose of Motrin, if both of those times happen to be at 6 p.m., you can give the Motrin and Tylenol at the same time. And in the ER, we often do that. If children or adults have come in and it's been, again, at least 4 to 6 hours since their last dose of Tylenol, and it's been at least 6 to 8 hours since their last dose of Motrin, we will give both medications at the same time to bring the temperature down. So I hope this helps. I can't see who's really here with StreamYard. I'm using StreamYard today. But thank you so much for joining. And when you start the live stream or when you share it, have your calculator out so that you can do the calculations with me as far as figuring out the dosing. So in the ER, we use kilograms, not pounds, for dosing. And again, Motrin is 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram, and Tylenol is 10 to 15 milligrams per kilogram. But definitely get in the comments and let me know of other topics that you would like me to discuss. I know this was a little bit dry. I'm doing calculations and stuff like that, but I'm just off of my shift where we had to do a couple teaching sessions as far as Motrin and Tylenol dosing for some unfortunate parents whose angst drove them into the ER at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, hours after being seen by their pediatrician and being told the child was okay, simply because they couldn't get the fever under control. And it was simply because they couldn't do the calculations in their heads. And you see here, I even at one point, accidentally skipped a step here when I said the Motrin was 15, for a 15-pound child was 150 milligrams. No, Motrin for a 15 kilogram child is 150 milligrams. So again, I'm Dr. Kadisha, your board certified emergency medicine physician. Follow me on Instagram at dr_Kadisha_MD, where we discuss all kinds of things, the health topics for the month, COVID updates, affirmations, things like that. And definitely get my free PDF on how to be safe and well during this pandemic at drkadisha.com. It's a free PDF there. It's like a whole PowerPoint presentation. It's like something that I would present, for a company or a school or something like that. And you can get it for free at drkadisha.com. And I will see you later. Bye.